Has anyone ever told you the moon landing was faked? I'm here to tell you that even saying that is quite disrespectful to the people who sacrificed their entire lives researching, testing, experimenting, and being ridiculed for even thinking it's possible. The moon landing was real. Here's 5 key points I present to you, undeniably proving so. 1. There is physical evidence. Apollo missions brought back 842 pounds of lunar regolith. 2. Independent tracking. Observatories globally, including the Soviet Union, tracked Apollo 11 missions in real time. 3. The technology. Saturn V remains the most powerful rocket ever built. Sorry, Elon. 4. The reflectors. Apollo astronauts placed retroreflectors on the moon, still used to this day to measure the Earth-Moon distance with lasers. 5. Massive collaboration. Over 400,000 scientists, engineers, technicians worked on Apollo. A hoax of that scale is implausible. The facts outweigh the conspiracy theories. Here's a timeline on the evolution of rocketry leading up to the moon landing in 1969. The Chinese are key contributors to our progress. Early rocketry, 9th through the 12th century. Chinese fire arrows are the earliest form of rockets. Gunpowder-filled tubes attached to arrows used as weapons in warfare. 1232, Battle of Kai Kang. Rockets were reportedly used as weapons during this Chinese battle. Renaissance and scientific foundation. 17th century, Sir Isaac Newton's laws of motion provided the theoretical foundation for understanding rocket propulsion. 1650, first multi-stage rocket concept. Polish-Lithuanian artillery officer Kazimierz Siemianowicz described the idea of multi-stage rockets in his book Artis Magni Artillerie Pars Prima. Modern rocketry emerges. 1804, Congreve rockets. British engineer Sir William Congreve developed military rockets with better range and accuracy used during the Napoleonic Wars. 1903. Tsiolkovsky's rocketry equation. Russian scientist Konstantin Tsiolkovsky outlined the mathematics of spaceflight and multi-stage rockets. 1926, first liquid-fueled rocket. Robert H. Goddard launched the world's first liquid-fueled rocket in Auburn, Massachusetts, reaching 41 feet. 1930s to the 1940s, VFR and Werner von Braun. German rocketry pioneers led by von Braun developed the A4, later known as the V2 rocket, the first ballistic missile capable of reaching the edge of space. World War II and early space race. 1944, the V2 rocket launches. The V2 was the first human-made object to reach the Kármán line, the boundary of space at 100 kilometers. 1945, Operation Paperclip. The U.S. brought German rocket scientists, including von Braun, to America to develop missile and space technologies. 1957, Sputnik 1, the Soviet Union launched the first artificial satellite into orbit using an R-7 rocket. 1961, Yuri Gagarin, the Soviet Union sent the first man into space. Yuri Gagarin into space aboard the Vostok 1 spacecraft. The Apollo era. 1963, Saturn I launches. NASA tested Saturn I rockets, precursor to the Saturn V that would carry humans to the moon. 1966, Apollo Saturn V development. NASA finalized the design for the Saturn V. Three-stage rocket standing 363 feet tall. 1968, Apollo 7 and Apollo 8. Apollo 7 tested the command module in orbit, while Apollo 8 became the first crewed mission to orbit the moon. July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 moon landing. The Saturn V carried astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins to the moon. Armstrong and Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the lunar surface.
11, 10, 9,
The timeline demonstrates how rocketry evolved from simple firecrackers to the complex engineering marvel of the Saturn V. Now we're going to go into the Apollo Guidance Computer, the AGC, which helped land humans on the moon. It had about 64 kilobytes of memory and processed at a speed of 0.043 megahertz. In contrast, your Samsung Galaxy S23 FE you bought for your YouTube channel has 8 to 12 gigs of RAM. The FE has 8. The Apollo Guidance Computer, which helped land humans on the moon, had about 64 kilobytes of memory. Remember that. To give perspective, the AGC's code was meticulously written by hand and stored as physical wire cores or rope memory, resulting in a thick book of carefully crafted instructions around 145,000 lines of assembly code. Your S23 can run billions of operations per second, stream videos, process complex AI, and store vast amounts of data, functions inconceivable for the AGC. The AGC was revolutionary for its time, compact enough to fit in a spacecraft, and capable of managing complex calculations in real time, yet it pales in comparison to modern smartphones. Which would you prefer? A Samsung S23 or an AGC?